welcome to Coming Home, Survive and Thrive in Homeschooling. I'm Christine, and this podcast is about finishing your year with confidence. In the Southern Hemisphere, the school year finishes in December and starts again in late January or early February. Although there is some measure of flexibility in homeschooling families as to the start of year dates. If you're a Northern Hemisphere listener, most of this podcast will still be relevant to you. Remember to come back for your end of school year ideas next year. Finishing bookwork. Finish off books, their literature books, and any read aloud you have been reading to them. Don't leave these till after the summer break. You can binge read unless, of course, there are hundreds of pages to go. Make a note to yourself for next year to divide time during the term by the chapters to be read. Also, any written work needs to be finished. If you now realise the workload was unrealistic for this term, do a quick reassess and decide what's really important to finish. Not everything will be. Encourage them to finish this work early. Then they can start their holiday sooner, which you will agree is strong motivation to get on with it and finish. Look back at this year's achievements. This can be encouraging for the children, but especially for you. Celebrate finishing with your children. Go out somewhere or get a meal as a treat you may not usually have. And you need to finish your year too. This includes an overview and basic planning for next year. Make sure you've got a diary or planner for next year and start putting in events, dates, holidays, festivals, anything you have a date for. You don't need the nitty-gritty yet, just the strong foundation to build on later. This will greatly relieve stress and help you to rest sooner once next year's planning has started. Even if you're feeling weary, it's important to do this before time just gets away on you. If it's feeling too hard, do a little at a time with a cup of tea or coffee and your favourite chocolate to encourage you. Put a timer on and work for 15 minutes at a time. You'll be surprised at what you can do in small chunks of time like this. When the timer goes off, stop, set the timer again for 15 minutes and do something else around the house. Repeat for an hour or so and bingo, you'll be planned before you know it. Dealing with any doubts and inadequacies. I will qualify that and say perceived inadequacies. Have the reasons you homeschool changed? Why are you doubting? Is it over money? You can go back to podcasts 15, 38, 48 and 49 for dealing with this subject. If you are tired and weary and think this is evidence you are not up to homeschooling, go back to podcast number 18. I work in a chiropractic clinic, and we see a lot of teachers and school staff, and I can tell you they are telling us how tired they are and how much they're looking forward to the end of term. There may or may not be rolling of eyes involved. What may be tempered in front of parents is told honestly to us. Tiredness is normal when working with children, whether it's teachers in the school or whether it's you in the home. Children are pretty full on. So tiredness is not a sign you're failing. So you can cross that off your list if you're reconsidering continuing to homeschool next year. anything worthwhile is hard work at times, and this is the most worthwhile thing you'll probably do. To be weary is a natural outcome of work, but rest is the cure. So for rest, go back to podcasts number 5 and 51. Perhaps you're worried about how you're going to teach them next year. They'll be a little bit older. They might need more. Well, many homeschoolers have gone before you, teaching or overseeing their children's education right the way through high school. You can too. As children get older, they do more self-teaching. You don't have to teach them everything. Perhaps you are feeling pressure from your children. Go back to podcast 50. To help think about what's bothering you, know the risk versus reward factors of homeschooling and going to school. If you can identify risks involved of sending your children back to school and the rewards of staying at home, and conversely, any risks you can see by keeping them at home or the rewards of going back to school. If you can see them pragmatically as risk versus rewards, things will start to fall into place. And remember, facts versus feelings. What has changed? Know that tiredness makes you more susceptible to feelings, and you need to focus on what the facts are. If you have organized, in writing if necessary, risks versus rewards, or even pros versus cons, you will be able to assess according to facts and not your feelings. And that's a relief. And know that there are no certainties, only probabilities, and this is so no matter what we're looking at in our lives. The details of risks and rewards are not certain, but based on common sense and experience, they are probable. Christmas preparation, gift buying. I am a fan of shopping online, and I will do it as much as possible, and I suggest you do too if you can, for both food and gifts. The stress of finding a car park, the shopping, the masses of people, and the time it takes to drive there and back, it does my head in. Time better spent doing something else at home with your family. Get on with it so there's plenty of time left for delivery before Christmas. If you do go to the shops, may I strongly suggest you don't step out your door without a list of exactly what you need to buy. I well remember wandering shops, awaiting inspiration and becoming more bamboozled the longer I did it. Perhaps the children want to go to the shops. It's an adventure for them. Well, fair enough. But as homeschoolers, you have the privilege of choosing a time of day likely to be less busy, usually as soon as the shops open first thing in the morning. This is a beautiful time of the year. Don't let bad planning steal your joy. And then you can have planning for Christmas activities with the children, baking, choosing and decorating a tree, making decorations and cards. You will probably have end-of-year gatherings also. Here are 2 easy ideas for when you need to take a plate. In New Zealand, taking a plate means you are taking food on a plate to the gathering to share with everybody else who's coming. 2 easy things to make. Buy a packet of Mallow Puffs. If you are from New Zealand or Australia, you know what Mallow Puffs are. You will need red sweets like Jaffas and spearmint leaves. With melted chocolate or icing, you can stick Jaffas and those leaves to the top, and they just take on a lovely Christmas theme. They look like holly on top of chocolate. Or have your children ice plain biscuits, and with those same Jaffas and spearmint leaves, make holly on top of those biscuits. And I suggest you keep your preparation of taking plates to events to a minimum. Unless being in the kitchen is your love language, just try and taper it back at this time of year. I recommend you go back to flylady.net. She has got an amazing preparing for holidays plan. You can download it. She's got a countdown that goes on for quite a few weeks from Thanksgiving right through to the Christmas holidays. She will guide you through decluttering, how to tidy up, what kind of food shopping you should be doing. It's brilliant. I have been doing this now for quite a few years and I still rely on it. She'll also help you figure out what to throw away and what to donate. And a quick word about that. If it's broken, dirty, stained, and you would not appreciate it being given to you, don't take it to a charity or an opportunity shop. Just throw it away. And then box up other things that are still in good condition and take them in so that these can bless other people. Don't think of it as getting rid of. You are blessing somebody else. It makes it easier to actually take these things out of the house and pass them on. Holiday time. Will you have concerned and nosy friends and family? Go back to podcast 51 and have another little listen. And remember what I have said previously about our response to people who would ask this question. Well, we take 1 year at a time and we reassess at the end of each year. And in a way that was actually true, but it also helped to satisfy the concern that other people have on your behalf. After a couple of weeks off with no planning and all the books put away, catch up on coming home podcasts you haven't heard yet or need a boost or refresher in, and let the ideas bubble up from within you and write them down. When you're resting and everyday busy demands are lower, this is the time when those latent thoughts and ideas that have just been sitting there waiting come up. I have learned to trust this time will come, and it has. Every year, brilliant ideas and reminders are allowed to surface for me. There are a few weeks to go yet before the end of the year, and I'm pretty sure I'll think of more things I need to say about it. This has been podcast number 52, which means it's been a year since I started coming home. I'm hoping much of it has helped you to not only survive but thrive in your homeschooling. It's my voice you hear each week, but there are 2 people without whom this wouldn't happen. I'm grateful to my husband for his support, but especially to Nathan, our eldest. Not only was this podcast his idea, but he's the editor behind the recordings. He does a superb and professional job each week. Next year, we'll bring more podcasts, and I value questions that come my way. Many conversations and questions have been turned into these podcasts, so keep them coming, please. More interviews are planned, and there will be workshops and coaching plans also. That's it from me this week. I hope you have a wonderful week as you start to plan for the year counting down. I'll catch up with you next time. Bye for now.